Hello everybody, my name's Aubrey and I'm an opera singer and a voice coach. Today I'm excited because we're looking at our next installment of my Disney Princess series where we discuss the I Want song in each of these classic cartoons. The voice of Cinderella, Eileen Woods, is kind of interesting because she originally wanted to be a school teacher, but her mom strongly encouraged her to go into singing. Later she went on to actually have a radio program that served the armed forces in World War II. The more you know. We're specifically going to take a look at the song A Dream is a Wish. I think a lot of people are very familiar with this piece and others like it from this period of time, but don't worry, there's lots of really cool stuff for us as singing students to discuss. So, without further ado, let's take a look at Eileen Woods as Cinderella in A Dream is a Wish.
What kind of a dream? Can't tell. 'Cause if you tell a wish, it won't come true. And after all, a dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. In dreams you will lose your heartache. Whatever you wish for, you keep. Have faith in your dreams, and someday your rainbow will come smiling through. No matter how your heart is grieving, if you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true.
Nice. How sweet was that? It brings back so many memories when I was a kid, so I'm kind of excited to talk about it with you. Notice how warm and round the voice is. It's very, very circular almost. Of course, when we're talking about the voice, it's really hard for us to come up with descriptive words that make a lot of sense, because otherwise we're going in and talking about move your larynx a millimeter to the left, and that doesn't work, right? So we end up having to use a lot of these abstract terms. So if you're ever working with a voice coach who's using words that are just like not working for you, try and communicate that and try and be like, oh, I don't really know what you mean by round or warm. Can we try a different word? I find that everybody relates to different adjectives. So some people really like colors to describe the voice. Some people like textures, some people like shapes. So as a voice teacher, I want to try and use as many different terms to describe how the voice sounds so that I can best translate what my ideas are to my students. And as a result, I hope that my students would give me feedback on whether or not what I'm saying works. As an example, we're talking about roundness and warmth. For me, that means when she's singing, it doesn't feel like she's pulling the lips in any particular way, right? A dream is a wish your heart makes. If I was looking for something pointed or perhaps bright, I would expect to sound kind of like this. A dream is a wish your heart makes. Obviously, there's no correct way to describe either of those technique colors, but you get the point. The way that we achieve that warm, round sound that she has is by using a lot of focused shapes. If you've been watching my videos recently, is what we call a schwa. It's written like an upside down E, and it's a very useful tool for us singers to use in order to warm up the voice and prevent it from getting a little bit too pinched forward. So you can hear it on words like wish. Instead of wish, it's wish. Your goes your. Heart goes heart. Although I usually don't encourage people to go to M and N sounds, which are nasal consonants, I think she does it in an effective way because she's doing it for the purpose of sounding casual. She's just woken up. It's early in the morning. She's not here to impress anyone. She's singing for birds. So it's about making sure that it sounds relaxed and effortless. And going to dream and having it just buzz a little bit on the lips is kind of a lullaby-esque quality. It almost feels like a mother singing to a child or something of the like. Going off that same idea of a lullaby, she kind of creates this rocking sensation with each of her phrases. Take a note on how she frames them. They almost feel like they're gently rocking back and forth on a wave. It's really effective for making us feel soothed. Something I think is really special to this performance and performances of this time period is the use of a hard American R. A lot of the time you won't hear people encouraging you to use heartache. You'll usually see it lifted to something like heartache with a British or transatlantic color. This is because R in the American dialect can be a little bit closing and hard to sing through. So in an effort to fix that, we just loosen it up and often kind of come across sounding British. She doesn't sing with that softer R as often. She uses that hard American R, which just ends up standing out a lot to our ears. Something that all of us could really learn from this performance is how she lilts into her next phrase. And when she has pauses, it's not like a full stop of the air. Notice how the air and the intention connects to the next phrase. She never turns off her focus, right? She doesn't go sing, 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 sing. Oh, I can relax. Sing, 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 sing. Because if you do that, you're going to be working too hard. Even in breaks, even when you're not singing at all, even when you're taking a breath or you've got an extended period of time like a tacit, always think about being in character, not like pretending to be Cinderella, but staying focused within the feeling of the piece. Because even as we take a breath in, we want that breath to feel like it's in the same shape as the sound you're about to make, because that helps maintain continuity across the performance and not feel so disconnected at certain points. So she's doing a great job with that. This lullaby, lilty quality ends up creating a very, very smooth piece that's relaxing and calming, and it really just plays to that nostalgia that we as the audience are totally smitten by. How and grieving are particularly beautiful and tender moments. I love how they sound. She has a little bit of an in there and in there to warm it up, like we mentioned before, and it's just super smooth and very glossy. I love the way that she's able to add just that gentle, shimmery vibrato in there. It keeps that line moving despite this song being slow. When we're singing slow stuff, it can sometimes feel like we're slogging through the mud, but in this piece, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like we're almost gliding over the water on a sailboat. When we're doing stuff like this, that tenderness can either be something that hinders us or helps us. We obviously would like it to help. So ways that we can do that is remembering that shape, making it be light, making it be open. And if you need more space in the mouth because your body's asking for it, give it. You can use as a way to help you out here. I love her tasteful scoops. Notice how they're not huge distances either. She's not coming from the chest and going up like, oh, your heart is grieving. She's doing it so much more tenderly, and it sounds like this. If you keep on believing. It's just a gentle scoop. So it gives you that freedom and that casual vibe without it being super hard for us to do. Because the bigger the scoop, the more exhausted we'll become, and it's going to be harder for us to recreate it exactly the same at a later performance. This is tricky, right? We want to be able to make stuff feel comfortable so it doesn't hurt us and doesn't tire us out super quickly, but we also want to consider, how do we do it again? How do we do it again in a very similar fashion? Of course, live performances, you're not going to be exactly the same, but we do want to try our best to make it as similar as possible. By making ornamentation really easy for us to replicate at a later time through repetition and understanding what your format really is, or by making it simple but effective, we can create a really nice, consistent, and not super stressful performance for ourselves. In this case, She's making a delicate, gentle slide that's not between two distant notes, and it sounds really smooth and very relaxed, but it also gives you a little bit of that wow factor. We as voice students can always learn so much from recordings like this, so I encourage voice learners to go out and consume as much recorded data as you possibly can. Listen to all these different techniques that people use. Isolate the things that you like, and also isolate the things that really aren't to your taste, because that ends up being really useful for us to figure out what our personal, unique voice sounds like. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me and talking about Cinderella. I enjoy these kinds of videos. They're really sweet. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you know you can leave a comment down below, and I look forward to seeing you guys later. Thank you so much again, and as always, remember to keep on singing.